Hey guys, this is Josh Peak. Welcome to the Josh Peak Show, where I am your host. We interview entrepreneurs, other podcasters, sometimes even politicians, people that are just doers, performers. They know how to win. And so today I wanted to talk about podcasting, which that's what this is. We've been doing it since 2006, early 2007, and things have really changed. We were kind of at the very beginning, the forefront of it, and I'll tell you how I got started here in a minute. But today, a good friend of mine, Chad Parks, sent me a link saying Joe Rogan scored a $100 million deal with Spotify, and what does this mean? And so the way I look at this is this is a good thing. It means podcasting is finally becoming looked upon as not just a couch where somebody sits around and just creates goofy content. This is a real business. Tomorrow's show, I'm going to talk about the way how to monetize a podcast, how to make money with a podcast. I even have an idea that I've created where there's going to be some podcasters I'm bringing on that's going to be working with me on a project where I've created a podcast platform, a podcast group of people that will be doing producing their shows and really helping them get out there. So, and again, so we started this in 2006, 2007. It was basically what started it all. That's when blogging was hot and still is. But I was working with a guy at the time that was a big trainer. He's a huge trainer in the network marketing direct sell space. It was a guy named Joe Schroeder. And a guy that was about, at that time, 60, 70 years old had said, man, you guys do such a great job on these, on these conference calls. And we had a private mastermind group of people. We were teaching how to market, teaching how to use, courses. And, we created a funded proposal which generated leads. But at the same time, it self-funded our business. It kept you alive long enough to where you can really build a substantial direct sales or network marketing business. Well, fast forward, he had told me, he goes, why don't you just take those, those conference calls and why don't you archive them? I said, well, I do archive them. He goes, yeah, but why don't you take those and podcast them? And I was like, well, what is podcasting? I didn't know what podcasting was at the time. And so I put him on TalkShoe way back in the day, and built a huge following off of it, and I didn't really even know what I was doing. Here's a place to park my conference calls to where people can listen to them over and over again. They can share them. And so basically what I realized is podcasting was an audio version of blogging. And so that's how I got started, and then time has gone by, and the equipment is better. There's studios, there's people using this as the new radio show, medium. And so I listen to a lot of good podcasts. Very rarely do I even watch the mainstream media, the news, whatever. Some people do that. I just have a hard time watching. That I'm a conservative, and if you've listened to this show long enough, and more even libertarian views in some ways, I have a hard time watching MSNBC, CNN. Even Fox. I just have a hard time watching it. But what I do like to do is listen to podcasts when I'm on my drive or anywhere. Even when I'm laying down, just want to relax my mind, I listen to a good podcast. Well, what does this Joe Rogan thing mean to me? It really shows me. I mean, this guy, if you look, this article that I'm going to, if you're on iTunes, Spotify, whatever you're listening to this on, I'll put a link in the show notes to where you can. It's from MarketWatch, but the title of it's "Who's Joe Rogan, the man who scored a reported $100 million deal with Spotify?" And if you look at it, I mean, they say he was making $30 million a year with YouTube, with live shows and advertising. So there's some big bucks, and I mean, just think if you're making 10% of that, right? $3 million a year. You're doing damn good in podcasting. And like I said, tomorrow I'm going to show you how you can monetize podcasting and why I've always been, it was my natural fit because I did a lot of conference calls and it was just my natural thing to podcast. So I've always been more partial to it than I like video marketing and I like blogging, but I really, really love this medium, podcasting. And so $100 million, they're going to take all 1,500 of his episodes, which were available on all kinds of platforms, iTunes and also YouTube. And it looks like they're going to put all of that on Spotify September 1st. And then from that point, it looks like it's going to be exclusive somewhere around the end of the year just on Spotify. It says that Joe Rogan told his millions of fans Instagram. And in this article, it does show the video that basically he's saying, I'm not going to be an employee of Spotify. He's same show, same production, same everything. It's just going to be it's going to be on Spotify rather than the other ones. He's going to be exclusive at some point. I think it's huge, man. I mean, if you can build up a podcast network, it's worth a lot of money if you know how to do it right. You know how to market. You have the right audience. You have the right content, the right message. I know how to take podcasting and put it right in front of the eyeballs, right where people need to hear it. They'll see it obviously with my graphic and my ads. So, for example, if I'm doing a podcast and I want to talk about why I think Donald Trump's better than Joe Biden, well, here's just an idea for you. Here's a concept. Here's a free marketing tip. Why not take your podcast, use Headliner, and take, 10-30 seconds out of that Headliner, and put it up on a Facebook, put it on an ad, and target Donald Trump followers, target audiences of people who like Donald Trump, who like the Second Amendment, who are they're for immigration reform, they're everything Donald Trump talks about, and you build an audience with that. The graphic is maybe you and Donald Trump, and saying things in common. That's whether you're a liberal, whether you're a conservative, you can do that on anything. I mean, you could take that same idea, run a Facebook ad to a audience. People are going to like your page. They're going to like your podcast. They're going to start subscribing. And this doesn't cost much money to do that. It'll also push across Instagram. But say I wanted to do the same thing on YouTube, do some Google ads, but placement and display, same thing. I can run my podcast across a huge audience. Say I'm in Oklahoma, say in northeastern Oklahoma. You know how many people I'm going to have saying, man, I saw your podcast on a website. It was a YouTube ad. It was a Google ad. And I really liked it. I downloaded it, and I'm a subscriber now. Well, I saw you on Facebook. It was basically, I'm a Donald Trump supporter. They don't know that I'm targeting them, but it's a supporter, and I saw your ad, and I liked your podcast, liked your Facebook page, and now I'm a subscriber. It doesn't cost a lot of money to do that. And as you're building this audience and people are sharing it across social media, you get even a bigger audience. And then all of a sudden you have people wanting to advertise on your show. You're wanting people to, there's people wanting to sell things on your show, sponsor it. And that's what's happened to me is now I'm starting to get sponsorships. I'm looking at them. I have not picked one that I really like yet. For me, I like things like in marketing. I also like sports nutrition. I love things that help people be a better performer, mentally, emotionally, physically. So I like sports performance products. I like things that are going to help people be better versions of themselves. So I just wanted to talk about that. I see podcasting getting even bigger than it is right now. I mean, it was, I started in 2006, early 2007, and now here we are on iTunes, Spotify, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Stitcher, I'm on a lot of different platforms, and just starting to do a little bit of advertising, and it's growing in a big, big way. So you're going to see more, you're going to see more of my episodes, hear more of my episodes. I'm going to be doing a lot more streaming live video with them as well. I'm bullish on podcasting. I think, the Spotify stock just skyrocketed today because of this news. I'm so bullish on podcasting. I think every realtor, every plumber, every I mean, hairstylist, blogger should have a podcast. It's just it's the new search engines. I mean, think about it. You go to iTunes, Spotify. It's the best search engine, I think, besides I use Twitter. Everything I use is for a search engine anyway. If I'm using Twitter, it's to search out new content or ideas or things of that nature. YouTube, I use it for education purposes. So anyways, with that being said, I'll put these in the notes, the link for Market Watch on this Joe Rogan move to Spotify. I think it's huge. And I'll be doing a new podcast tomorrow and showing you how to monetize it, giving you some ideas. So that's really the main thing for me, is to get your mind working and to start looking at ways to grow your business with podcasting and other forms of media. So again, this is Josh Peak. You have a great day. Thank you.